just in case anybody's wondering. Been rebuilding my XR650 over the winter. I was one of the few people who had, or should I say many people who had, the counter shaft strip. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. You can kind of see where they're not really squared off. Yep. So I figured might as well do a rebuild. I put the gold valves in the front. You could probably seen the other videos for that. Rebuilt the shocks. I've got a 48 tooth sprocket for the back that we'll be installing. I rebuilt the motor, all new valves in there. Not valves, sorry, all new gaskets, lapped the valves, rebuilt the head, new seals for the head. It's got a 10 1/4 to 1 Wiseco piston in it, a hot cam stage 1 camshaft. It's got the European 2nd and 5th gear installed on the new countershaft. An aftermarket clutch, EBC clutch. Mostly everything was bought from ProCycle and Bike Bandit. I fixed all the rusty stuff down here from rocks beating on it. It's not rusty anymore. You can kind of see. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not nearly as bad as it was. Fixed this all up. This is all smashed up from a couple of off-road accidents. They're kind of hard to avoid. So when the bike gets back together, I'll show you some more pictures as it's going back together. The airbox came out because this old gasket material was old, just getting cracked and falling off. I figured might as well replace it. In the process, I de-snorked it. At one point in time, a squirrel or mouse or something decided to have his way with it. Annoying, but it's not going to cause it to break. The K&N will be getting replaced with a uni. There's going to be a 4-gallon IMS gas tank going on. And I will get more up-to-date pictures as I put the bike back together so everybody can see how it's going. Alright, I just wanted to give a quick demonstration on installing the Airbox in an XR650L. Sometimes it can be kind of a bear to get in and out. I just want to show a trick that I found easy for getting it in and out easy. The first thing, unfortunately I forgot to show you the taking it out, but the first thing you need to do is 3 bolts. There's 1, 2, 3 bolts holding it on. There is the back piece right here that we lay down here. This is the back tire. So the easiest thing that I found to removing this is also you know, a couple connectors for your hoses and some wires. But the easiest thing that I found was to take the back tire, push the back tire all the way back without it actually coming off of the bike. Now this is what this is the part that makes it a pain in the butt. You can't really unscrew that. It's riveted on. So you're kind of, unless you want to drill it out and rivet it back on, there's not much you could do to avoid that piece. So just take it in from the back side of the bike, with the back tire all the way back. Take this air intake part, squeeze it in, take some finagling around, but it gets in there. Do some adjusting. Make sure you're not getting any of these wires pinched. Then this part over here, there's a lip on this where the rail has to go in. There's a little lip. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt to get it on there, but you just play with it a little bit. You can get it. And Alright, well, there's the airbox is now in. You just gotta bolt it in and you're done. So that's the little trick. Go in from the back. Alright, we just got the 4-gallon gas tank in. Gonna install it on the XR650L. I'm gonna show you the procedures involved. So the gas tank itself came with some mounting hardware, a box of bolts and whatnot. I also went ahead and purchased an XR650 fuel petcock. I was reading online the adapter that uses the stock XR650L petcock that would go on here can sometimes hit the engine itself, so work around that is just to order the XR600 petcock and install that on there instead. So well, let's get to installing this thing. Okay, the first step in the process is to install the petcock, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And I want everybody to know I have greased the chair. No more loud chair. Alright, so one thing I noticed real quick was I was going through here. The mounting hardware for this is XR650L specific. So they give you this mounting plate with a flush mounting adapters. I don't know how well you can see that. Perhaps I should turn more lights on, but it's alright. That we're not using, so I had to go to the hardware store. These would be what comes with, this is what comes with the setup. Yeah, it's not very good. Hopefully that lighting's a little better. Not really, but this is what comes with the stock setup. I went ahead and purchased these here because the XR650L mounting piece has larger holes than what comes with the factory from IMS. So with the larger heads, it'll have no problem keeping the piece on. So let's go ahead and install this. You take this O-ring here, comes with the kit, put that on. You probably can't see very well, but there's a small recess in the tank itself that it's where the O-ring is going to sit in. You can see it's nice and flush around the 600 piece. I took and already put a teeny bit of gasoline here, swished it around, dumped it out, just to make sure it's cleaned up. So let's go ahead and install this. Alright, so let's continue with the installation of this. So you just simply stick it on there. Now, the user's manual says it might not sit perfectly flush due to the thickness of this washer. Looks like that's pretty much going to be the case. Get this bolt started here. I believe the only concern that we have is that it actually does not leak. But it'll sit pretty darn close to flush. Alright, so let's get this installed here. really recommend over tightening this. So that should be good. Alright, the next step in the process is to install these L brackets. Now, I did some test fitting. Turns out that the stock, what they give you from the factory for the IMS tank, they are exactly the same when you get them. From this angle here you can tell. Now, they are completely different from each other. The main problem is that they don't quite fit the way they're supposed to fit. So what I did, just to make sure the fitment, I installed the tank onto the bike with just the factory top piece here. You know, you put it onto the rubber grommets just like you would the stock tank. Tighten this down, just finger tight, don't need to be tight, just enough so it don't move around. And then the L brackets go from, if you can see in here, the L brackets go from where the stock gas tank shrouds would attach right here to the inside of the tank. Where my finger would be, there's a small bolt hole in there. Now on this side, the bolt's in front of the L bracket, in front of the shroud bracket. On the other side, it's behind it, so they're offset from each other. And of course, being this is not factory, you're going to need some modifications. So you just simply go in there. What I did to the L brackets was they needed a bigger bend, a bigger angle. Let's see if I can get this. Here we go. Bigger angle here to make it so when this bolts in, it points down like that at the shroud attachment. The small tab goes onto the tank, and this attaches to the bike. Also, you'd want to round these edges off a little bit. Mine aren't perfect, but whatever. You want to round these off a little bit so that they fit inside the area of the bike, because it's the way it's made. Well, you'll notice it when you see it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and install these onto the bike and tighten it down, and I'll show you the finished product. They go on the stock location, on the locations I showed you underneath where the original tank shrouds would have attached.